Great. Okay.
All right. Well, greetings, everybody. Eric Lashinsky here from City of Annapolis. I'd like to call to order the November 20th meeting of the BRTB's Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Group. Charlene, will you please do a roll call?
Yes. City of Annapolis.
Here.
Anne Arundel County. Baltimore City.
Tanya is here.
I'm here. Sorry, I couldn't get my
Baltimore City's here.
Okay, got you both. Sorry, Tanya. Baltimore County.
Present.
Carroll County. Hartford County. Howard County.
Hi, Chris Echoff is here and Pat Smith is here also.
Great. Queen Anne's County. Maryland Department of the Environment. Maryland Department of Planning. MDOT Maryland Highway Safety Office.
Hi, everybody. Cynthia Spriggs here.
Great. Maryland Transit Administration.
Here.
Thank you. MDOT SHA.
Run Molly Porter.
And MDOT TSO.
Francine here.
Thank you. That completes the roll call.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. And I know that Queen Anne's County had multiple conflicts today, so Steve Kahuna is our vice chair for the committee, but can't be here today. So now we have to do our customary approval of the July minutes. That was our last meeting. We had skipped September, slow month. So minutes were sent out in advance. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes. Can I get a second, please?
Hi.
All right, take that. Can all members in support of approving the minutes just say aye, and I'll ask for any. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, the minutes are approved. We got the technicalities out of the way. We have a series of presentations today as usual. I believe the first one is from Francine Waters from MDOT TSO on our Walktober events. Francine?
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. I want to share with you all that I greatly appreciate the counties and jurisdictions that participated and promoted Walktober. And I would like to further share with you that my presentation is indeed a draft final report. The numbers were quite extensive during the month, and because of that, we have not been able to totally crunch all the numbers, but we're working on it. So I appreciate the opportunity. You will be the first to see what the report looks like. Thank you, Charlene. Go ahead, next. So what I'd like to share with you is a sort of a review of how Walktober began initially, what our goals and strategies are for 2024, our events, Walk Maryland Day, Walk to School, and our Walk and Ours, and what those numbers are that I was speaking of, and what the milestones are that we've accomplished. Next. So for those of you who may recall, in the beginning, 5 years ago, when Walktober was its first inception, we wanted to build on Walk Maryland Day. So as you recall, walking is the state of Maryland's official state exercise, and the Maryland Department of Health took on the mantle of promoting Walk Maryland Day, but it was focused mainly at State Center in Baltimore for employees that worked in Baltimore. One of the challenges was to address walking, I'll say, and build on that around our core, which is safety, equity, infrastructure, and community, and make it a statewide event. Walk Maryland Day is historically the first Wednesday in October. And we just wanted to extend it and make it broader and bring in the Maryland's Bicycle and Pedestrian Master Plan. Also, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration coincidentally went and declared October as National Pedestrian Safety Month. So we were all in concert with each other at this point. Next. So our goals: safety, an investment in infrastructure, coordination with the counties and jurisdictions and local residents and advocates, education, what's out there, what do we need to look at, what's available to us, and of course, health, where walking is an important aspect of our overall personal health. Next. So looking at the strategies of how we get to a successful end result, we looked to cultivate advocacy, to promote safer infrastructure, to, of course, demonstrate leadership and share practices of safe walking networks, to develop and strengthen our partnerships, promote local walk events, education aspect of bringing walking and walkability to Marylanders, the importance of it, how to achieve it, and to expand awareness and participation in existing walk programs and events throughout the state. Next. So Walk Maryland Day, the center of how this all started in essence, MDOT and MDH promoted Walk Maryland Day, and MDH is hosting the walk registration website. In the very beginning of time, 5 years ago, for those of you who may recall, Walk Maryland Day was a pencil and paper. You would email and we would write down who you were and where your walk was. And we, as of a year ago, we've become much more sophisticated thanks to MDH, who contributed to the development of an actual platform for registration. So we're very appreciative of that. This year, we have had over 100 registered walks throughout the state, which was larger than we've had in the prior years. And MDOT, TSO, we had weekly walks all month long. And I will share with you that I think I've been joined by Meg, who was, I believe, at every single one of those walks throughout the month. So we're very excited. We did a lot of internal work to promote Walk Maryland Day. Next. And we really had a, please send us your photos. And we were delighted that this year we did get a lot of photos, which is wonderful. And I will share with you, please keep sending them in, hoping that you still walk throughout the year. If you have them, send them to me. And please, next year, consider going up on our wonderful wall of photographs and all these wonderful smiling faces throughout the last 5 years. Some of these photos are older, some of these are newer, and we're just delighted. It's a wonderful opportunity to really share with your colleagues and your neighbors. Next. So additional photos from around the state. Next. This year, we really focused attention to the schools as well. Walk to School Day had previously been on the same day as Walk Maryland Day, But this year it was October 9th. And as you can see, we at MDOT produced a flyer, which we distributed to the school systems. And we were able to raise the level of awareness with over 55 schools across Maryland celebrating walk and roll to school. So we look forward to continuing to promote to the schools throughout the next Walktober. Next. This gives you a kind of an image of the kids really love it. And of course, Cheswick the Crab came out, which was wonderful. And Cynthia, thank you so much. This was just a great event. And we look forward to continuing in 2025. Next. This is an overview of what Walktober was like this year. Excuse me. We had 5 Thursdays, so we had 5 walk-in-ours. And of course, Walk Maryland Day. And I won't go through each of these because I will continue to talk about them as we go along. But the momentum that Walktober has created over the last 5 years has been pretty remarkable. And we had some incredible speakers that we were very happy to have join us. Next. So this year we were very excited in that the Lieutenant Governor welcomed the start of the walk-in-ours, and it was followed by Sarah Locke from AARP discussing health. And we always love to have our authors, and Veronica Davis, author of Inclusive Transportation, a Manifesto for Repairing Divided Communities, was also attending. And we were very excited to have these speakers. And if you note, we had 841 registrants for this one walk-in-hour. Next. Our second walk-in-hour was focused on complete streets. And Heidi Simon from Smart Growth America led a panel, but before the panel, David Conway from AARP presented a video that they had made with Smart Growth America on walkability. And as you can see, we had 1,182 registrants. So our viewers were growing. I know Chris is on the call here. So Chris, thank you. Chris was one of the panelists, and it was a very invigorating discussion. And I will tell you that from first blush of looking at the respondents from the surveys of those who attended, they really appreciated the panel discussion and the conversation about complete streets and the quick start programs that MDOT is doing in coordination with Smart Growth America. Next. Our third walk-in-hour highlighted Corey Johnson with Safe Routes Partnership. It focused on schools, safe routes to schools, and Cynthia, who is joining us at this meeting, Cynthia led the panel on that discussion. Again, a very invigorating discussion, very lively, a lot of information. Discussions, the schools really are just absorbing the opportunities. Dwayne Morris was shared his experiences in Montgomery County. Betsy Schultz and in her school, Bellows Spring. It was just a really lively and invigorating discussion, and we had 1,164 registrants. And I think you'll see that there's a pattern here. Next. Our next walk-in-hour focused on pedestrian access and safety. Dara Baldwin shared with us a lot of information on legislation for the opportunities on barriers and how to break those barriers with infrastructure improvements. Mike McGinn, who has been a wonderful speaker with America Walks, speaking to the audits. And I had the opportunity, along with my colleague, Marshall Stevenson from State Highway Administration, to share the sidewalk data collaboration, which we started this year. We're very excited about this program. It's the first statewide program to collect sidewalk data, and it would and has helped in terms of promoting what the gaps are, to see where we can improve our infrastructure. And as you can see, 1,278 registrants. Next. And our last, fifth walk in R for the month was really a very substantial walk in R with 1,688 registrants, with our own Joe McAndrew, Assistant Secretary for Project Development and Delivery at TSO, Joanna Green, who was a moderator for a discussion with the Secretary of Planning, Secretary of Housing and Community Development, and Secretary of Health, speaking to walkability, how it relates to the vitality, health outcomes, and transportation choices that we all make, and how it relates to the Sustainable Growth Subcabinet. It was just a really, again, a very lively discussion and very well received. We had some great comments, which I'll share at the very end of this. Next. So what have we achieved since we started? When we started 5 years ago, we started building our partnerships. We continue to look to build on those partnerships. We've maintained 51 partnerships. If you note here, when we started in 2020, we had 20 partners. So we want to definitely continue that. We wanted to further expand the key issues that are faced by pedestrians. We want to make sure that there is a dialogue with the counties, with jurisdictions, and residents within the state. We want to build on our pedestrian subcommittee, which we started again about 5 years ago. And prior to this Walktober, we had 147 members. I will share with you that in going through the respondents after the walk-in-Rs, we had over 100 people wanting to participate in our pedestrian subcommittee. So that subcommittee, if they all were to attend, which, you know, maybe yes, maybe no, but that really just shows you the interest level is really tremendously high. And the state, of course, with our safety awareness, Cynthia Spriggs, our Complete Streets Initiative, our Pedestrian Safety Action Program, Molly, who's on this call, our sidewalk data collaboration, our safe routes to schools, we all look for pedestrian safety and developing a safer pedestrian and achieve our Vision Zero goals. Next. So this is just incredible, the clicks and registrations as it has progressed through the 5 years. And we're practically off the charts in 2024. So this doesn't happen in a vacuum. This is really a testament to our partnership and to the jurisdictions, the counties, the locals that have resonated and echoed and put out the word that this is a substantial opportunity to learn more about walking safety, infrastructure improvements, and the like. So again, we thank you for your partnership and for retweeting those tweets and getting the word out across. And it, as you can see, it does make a difference. Next. So some milestones. The governor proclaimed October Walktober, which we greatly appreciate. This year we had 5 walk-in-ours, which normally we have 4. We work with the Maryland Department of Planning, and they're able to provide credits for certified planners, which is much appreciated. I am very happy to share with you that the Maryland Sidewalk Data Collaboration won the American Planning Association for Maryland Interjurisdictional Coordination Award this year. Very excited about that. As I mentioned, we had 51 agencies, organizations, and nonprofits partnering with us for Walktober. 24 school districts were invited, 55 schools were registered. Just to give you an idea of what MDOT put out in their social media, Twitter impressions, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, getting that word out. And as I mentioned, 96 new requests to join the BPAG pedestrian subcommittee. Next. This is just a sample of what people had to say in response to the survey at the end of each walk-in-R. And I'm very pleased to share with you that there have been some great comments that we received on the program, on the campaign, for each of the walk-in-Rs. And we really appreciated this feedback. And we will be sharing the feedback to each of the presenters and panelists as we move through the documentation and all the information that we received through the surveys. But just to give you an idea, and it has expanded. We are outside of Maryland. As you can see, several people commented. I will also share with you that we've gotten even further outside in that we've been asked to write a paper for a European publication. So it does make a difference. Next. So some great pictures of our people who have participated in Walk Maryland Day. And I look to 2025 and build on what we continue to share throughout the state. And I would be happy to answer any questions, share any information, and I'll just, Charlene, if you want to just open it to the floor, that'd be great.
Thanks so much, Francine. It's really impressive. That online presence in particular, to go from like 7,000 to 30,000 in 1 year, I was kind of blown away by that.
We were too, Eric. It's been a, as you can see, each walk-in-R generates more registrants, which I find interesting as well. I think word of mouth is very important. But in addition to that, as I said, our partnerships have been instrumental in continuing to contribute to the success of the program. So thank you all.
Yeah, I wanted to also, I don't know if you all can hear me. I wanted to thank you, Francine, so much. Also because when I came across the information, I wanted to very quickly, because it was right at the beginning of October that I discovered it. And so I created a poster. I sent you it in the messages, Francine. But we created a poster, and then we put them at all the bus stops in the city of Annapolis to encourage,
Wonderful.
and some other things. So thank you so much for.
Thank you.
I kind of lifted your super cool logo because it had autumn colors in it and it incorporated. It was beautiful. So, thank you. Your check's in the mail.
I do appreciate it. It's the thought. It's the thought.
Mhm. That's great to hear. Just want to say thank you as well. And BMC always appreciates getting to participate and organize walks. I know our staff really enjoys getting to get out together and go on the walks. And it's really great to see the program continue to expand and grow.
It's thank you. Thank you, Charlene. And I do want to share with you that Meg mentioned that the walk-in-ours were recorded. So for those of you who weren't able to participate and listen, you have the opportunity to go back and listen to them. And they're really worthy of your time to listen to some of them. The information is just really very, very important and vital for the future.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments for Francine? All right. I have one comment, and maybe this is already done as part of Walktober, but I think it'd be really cool for places around the state to somehow have a way of sharing projects, exemplary pet-oriented projects that could be kind of like best practices. I know, some of the best projects are not very exciting. They're just like a critical sidewalk that should have existed a long time ago, and don't photograph well. But it could be a good way to promote things that are happening, and just I don't know, maybe it could be done in an informal way or through social media, or people post, tag like people are already doing with sending in these photos, but great places to walk or something. But
I think it's a great idea, Eric, and I will share with you that we will be looking in January to start discussing Walktober 2025. And so we'll look to those projects. We did do the Complete Streets Quick Start panel with Smart Growth America, and highlighted work that's being done in Howard County. Chris, I don't know what was your experience with the panel?
It was good. I mean, yeah, it was a great session. Good questions, a lot of interest. I think it helped that we had, 3 different projects around the state. It was good diversity of projects to discuss, and it was well managed as well by Smart Growth America.
Yeah, so we will look to that, Eric, for the future. And Chris, again, thank you for participating in the panel. And the discussion was really good, and as I said, very well received.
it's great to hear. All right. Well, thanks again, Francine.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, everyone. So our next presentation is from Cindy Birch at BMC, who we all know, just giving us an update on the Look Alive campaign, which I'm a big fan of. So take it away, Cindy.
Well, thank you for that endorsement, Eric. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to give just a quick overview of some of the things we did in October with Look Alive, and then talk a couple minutes about a new safety campaign we're working on here through our Baltimore Regional Transportation Board. So next slide. Sorry, next slide. I'm a title slide person. Sorry. So one thing we did in actually the end of September, it was the last homestand of the Orioles. We were fortunate to be able to go on site with the virtual reality vehicle, as well as our Signal People street teams. If you guys, for anyone not familiar with it, you can't really see it in these pictures, but it's a white Camaro and it's all decked out with Look Alive imagery, and there's a big screen in front of it, and the person sits in the vehicle like a regular car and puts a VR headset on, and they're taken through what seems like neighborhood streets. And it's about, are they catching where the bicyclists and pedestrians and other non-motorists are? And they get a score at the end. So it's very interactive. The folks there you see in the white jumpsuits that resemble our signal woman and our signal people street teams, they're so outgoing. It's crazy. I am not that type of person. They're out there like a carnival barker. Come on over, everybody do this, do this. And so it's a very fun atmosphere. And sometimes we've seen young people or any age really like compete against their friends for who gets the better score or something like that. So it's a really engaging setup. And then behind that, they have this photo wall that you can see on the bottom pictures there that's meant to look like the signal head. And they have, you know, they can little signs to hold up or things that look like the signal person. And they said it was just, we were there 2 days in a row, 2 games in a row, right inside one of the gates. And they said it was phenomenal. The response they got from a lot of people, they were very busy the whole time they were there. I believe they were there into the 3rd inning around that time. And one thing they said that was fortunate was right across from them was the ticket window or the office for season ticket holders. And because it was the last couple games of the season, even though we were in the postseason by then, they couldn't use their points or their rewards in the postseason. So they were coming, there was hundreds of people in line to go in there and do things with their season ticket packages. So they were like, we had a captive audience right there. And so many came over to talk to us. So we'll see if we're able to do it again this coming year, especially if the Orioles keep doing well. They had a really, really great turnout. Next slide. So here were the top 2 there, the days that was a Friday evening game and a Saturday afternoon. They got 16,000. If you guys are familiar with the park, it was Gate H. And then 19,000 on the second day. And they had 40 participants with the VR, 54 people taking Polaroids with the photo wall, and then 29 and 97 on the second one. So it was really a great event, especially for that. They then did another one. I just don't have the numbers for that one just yet, but Baltimore County had a Young Driver Safety Day event at Carver Botech High School in Towson, and they had about 13 or 14 stations set up from different folks. Highway Safety Office was there, fire, EMS, different things for young drivers to learn from. One of them was we took this virtual reality car in the street teams. So we'll get metrics on that hopefully soon. The other thing in October that was planned out, and some of you on the call are very familiar with these, was the street teams went out to 4 locations in the region. Baltimore County, City, Howard County, and Anne Arundel County, worked with the local contacts to try and find the best place, whether it's something new that's being installed infrastructure wise, or a high incident area or high risk area for pedestrian interactions or crashes, things like that, to get out there and spend some time. Some of them were before and after school to really get to the kids and the parents and guardians that were taking them in and out. And this is always a great thing too to do during Pedestrian Safety Month. So the next slide, there's a couple slides of pictures you can see from that. So what the signal people do, if you're not terribly familiar, when COVID hit, we were like, oh, we can't go out and interact and really be, you know, quote, hands-on with people. So they turned into walking billboards to keep a safe distance during the COVID pandemic. So we've kept those billboards. They are able to interact with people more so now, but then it's also this bigger visual sign for the drivers as they go by to also catch the message. And so it's like a dual level of interaction with the pedestrians as well as the drivers. So those were a couple of our sites. And on the next slide, we had kudos to Tanya. We had a councilwoman come out down there in Anne Arundel. Hopefully she had a good time. And we always have great turnout in all 4 areas. So that's just a quick wrap up of the major things we did with Look Alive. We also did social media and media output, digital TV, things like that as well. So one thing we started talking about last year here at BMC was, is there anything we can do to help on a more local level to try to get out some safety messaging? And we actually got a task approved by the board to try and do what we're calling a hyper local campaign. So we can go beyond what Look Alive is doing with Signal Woman. You know, that's on major platforms, major partners that are going out there. We wanted to get more into like a neighborhood level if we can, as far as the outlets. So we wanted to complement what's happening with Signal Woman and the Highway Safety Office and SHA and NHTSA and all of them, just at that other level. So next slide. So when we were looking at numbers and trends in the crash data in the region, we also wanted to go a little beyond just ped bike safety. So we want to have some messaging about speeding, impaired driving, and distracted. Those are the top 4 really in all of your strategic highway safety plans, as well as in the crash data, unfortunately. And then we thought this safety campaign also helped. US DOT has a program called Allies in Action, and it's all about committed to safety programs and using the safe system approach, things like that. I would recommend any agency join up. You just kind of send them a little blurb. There's no fees or anything like that, but we became an ally in action a couple years ago, and it's just a way that they're kind of trying to rally everyone behind the national roadway safety strategies, because our numbers are going in the wrong direction, unfortunately. So our original plan was to do a short little push in October, then do 2 3-month waves, I guess, November, December, January, and then again in April through June. This is a fiscal year project. So we were able to get a couple things out real quick at the end of October in Pedestrian Safety Month. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to get anything out in November. We kind of went a couple different ways with distracted driving messaging regarding deer during deer season, especially in some of your areas. But there's also, we are going to put out some messaging about speeding, and if we can come up with some impaired driving messaging, and then some other things throughout the year. If you have any programs or specific needs in your area or your jurisdiction, please let us know. You can let Charlene know or let me know. And because we would like this to be most beneficial to you guys, not just something else that gets blasted out there. But, you know, if you have a huge event, maybe we do focused pedestrian safety messages before that, because people will all be walking to the fair or something like that, you know, and try and really get it into that specific area. Next slide. So like I said, we got a little bit out in October, and what we did was we got some radio ads on YPR and WTMD, and then we did some digital media through all the Meta platforms, as well as in Latin Opinion Baltimore. So this was just like a soft launch to see what we could get pulled together and how the process works for somebody like me that's never done an outreach campaign personally. So next slide. So these are what this Pedestrian Safety Month ads sounded like. If anybody had heard them, you know, it's Pedestrian Safety Month, BRTB. Last year we lost this many pedestrians and bicyclists were killed or seriously injured. Please go to baltimoremetro.org/safety, and that's our safety page to learn about our safety subcommittee and other things. That's another thing we'd like to do with some of this hyper local, is if you guys have a specific page you would like people pushed to. For our images, we want to put QR codes on there. And then if we do more radio ads, that way we can spell out your website and send them to, you know, Annapolis Transportation or Queen Anne's DPW or whatever. So they really realize what the local aspect is, and they're not just getting sent to a federal webpage. Next. So this was the graphic my colleague pulled together for the last week of October, really. And it's just, you know, something basic, something simple, but it was more, like I said, about the outlets we put it in that made it more hyper local. Next slide. So these were some of the ones we reached out to all of the lots So we can see about getting advertising inside and outside of their vehicles, similar to what we do with MTA for Look Alive and a lot of the other safety campaigns in the state. We had some regional partners, and then you'll see on this and the next slide, the ones that we're looking at that hyper local level. So if you guys get a chance and can look through these, if I haven't already bugged you for ideas and there's something else you know that's community-based or something like that that we could work with, please feel free to let Charlene or I know, and we'll certainly contact them. Next slide. So our next steps, we really want to try to use creative materials that we can from either the feds or the state. But like I said, focusing on that hyper local level, creating those QR codes, we want to push them to your landing pages or your local resources. So it brings us all in this together. And like I said, if you have any specific events or areas of interest, that's how we got the DEER idea from partners in Hartford County. But unfortunately, to pull it together, I found out that the rut is ending now. So that's the most dangerous time during deer season is that hyperactivity during the rut. And with that being over, the likelihood of vehicle interactions is going down. So we missed that one a little bit, but still, if there's other things, we know we run the gamut from urban to rural. So we just want to try and help as much as we can. And like I said, it's just for this fiscal year so far. I'm going to try and get more money next year, but so far the budget's for $100,000, and that's why we're sticking with digital media and radio ads. We don't really have the budget to go out and create, visual ads or video or anything. So, and that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Cindy. We had the campaign come to Annapolis last year, and I was thrilled to see it at one of our worst intersections. Something came
that
to
was Forest Drive, right? Yes.
Yeah, Forest Drive at Hillsmere Drive.
Yes.
Which is a heavily used pedestrian intersection, but just not well designed for pedestrians or cyclists. But I was thinking at the time, like, I kind of wanted the signal woman to be there every day, or or once a week or something, and I know it's not really that's not really the best use of that campaign. It can't be the only thing to change driver behavior, but it occurred to me, like, maybe if there was a way for local jurisdictions to augment the campaign that BMC manages, if there were guidelines for a local jurisdiction to sort of do their own signal woman campaign using the exact same messaging, find a local participant, who could be the single woman and the crew that accompany, you might be able to extend the reach. Obviously, I recognize, like with any ad campaign, you have to have really clear guidance so you don't undercut the messaging by people taking shortcuts to do different things and so forth. But that could help.
We would love that. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, it is funded through the Highway Safety Office. So, and we would love to expand that reach. So it's all definitely creative materials and support and everything that's out there. It's not, you don't have to pay for it. It's not protected IP or anything.
Cindy, can I hop in real quick?
Absolutely.
So if other local jurisdictions want to do Signal Woman in the DC region, we have the Street Smart campaign, which is very similar, just it's a different campaign. We've had some of those local jurisdictions put in applications for the street team. Well, it's different down there. They don't do the street teams quite the same way, but the VR cars, put in your own application. So if anybody's interested in exploring that version of the Signal Woman, this way it keeps everything the same. You would just apply for funding for your specific jurisdiction to have additional resources, whether it's the VR car or the street team people.
Okay.
Well, that's great, Cynthia. I didn't realize they were doing that down there, because I was just gonna say, we did put some extra funds in the project for this year to directly coordinate with the local SHSP teams, which, like I said, all of you have. So, and Eric, I know, like you said, you're interested. I know Tanya is, she goes to the events when they go there. So that's something that we can talk about within that Vision Zero group that you guys have going on down there as well, that there is some money within our grant from the Highway Safety Office to maybe do a couple more street team events outside of the regularly planned ones. And then Cynthia's grant applications open up in January, so people can put in for funding there for street teams and VR cars, right?
Yeah, if anybody's interested in even potentially exploring that, I would recommend just scheduling a meeting with me in December, and we'll get you all set up for planning on what you would need. Even if it's just to talk it through, I'm always happy to do that.
Great, thanks. Well, thank you guys for letting me come out today. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Great that you could join us. Well, if there are no further comments or questions, on to our next presentation from our own Charlene Mingus, who's going to talk about the latest on the Patapsco Regional Greenway.
Great. Thank you so much. So we have a comment in the chat, just checking. Okay, that was just Meg put in the Walk-in-Ours link if anybody needed that. I missed that earlier. So I'm the, as you know, active transportation planner at BMC. And so I just wanted to give an update on the Patapsco Regional Greenway. Got a lot going on, and a lot of my colleagues are working on projects as well. So sometimes we haven't given an overall update to you guys a little bit. As you know, the PRG plan was adopted by BRTB in 2017 with the plan for a 40-mile greenway extending from Carroll County all the way to the inner harbor. So parts of the trail are already constructed and open for use. Other parts are going through design phases. So that's kind of what we're going to go over today. Another thing I wanted to show you guys is that we put an effort through to do a kind of more comprehensive update of the data set of the Patapsco Regional Greenway, and our GIS coordinator, Erin Bolton, Amanda created this web map that I'll drop the link in the chat after I finish. And it shows the existing segments, the under design, and the plan segments. Based on the data that we have available, and that we did some desktop survey work to look for things. So if you see if any of that data you have questions about, or you think there need to be edits, feel free to reach out to me. But it's a nice interactive kind of website where you can kind of zoom in and look at the different segments of the Patapsco Regional Greenway. So the existing segments are in Carroll County, Freedom Park Trail, Grist Mill Trail in Baltimore County, and a number of segments in Baltimore City. We also have projects that are undergoing design or have completed a certain level of design. So one of them is the Elk Ridge to Guinness segment. That segment is currently going under final design, so they're getting ready to wrap up 60%, but it's funded up to 100. So that's the most advanced out of this list. And then we have the Sykesville to McKeldin segment in Carroll County that has kind of two main sections, Sykesville to Freedom Park and Freedom Park to McKeldin. And that preliminary design has been completed on that one. And then we have three other sections that have preliminary design underway. So Guinness to Southwest Area Park segment is getting to wrap up the 30% design. Stony Run Trail is progressing, and they're getting ready to start their third phase and presenting the preferred alignment and going out to the public. And then we are getting ready to kick off the Cherry Hill segment, which is located in Baltimore City. It's exciting. So Elk Ridge to Guinness segment, as you can see, it goes from historic Elk Ridge over to the Guinness Open Gate Brewery at 1.8 miles. So, so as I mentioned, it's funded for 100% design and sponsored by Howard County and Baltimore County. This would connect Patapsco Valley State Park, Main Street in Elk Ridge, and the Guinness Open Gate Brewery. And then we have the Sykesville to McKeldin segment. So 30% design was completed in 2022 and was sponsored by Carroll County. And it would connect the city of Sykesville to and then through Patapsco Valley State Park, with one segment being 0.4 miles of new trail connecting onto 0.4 miles of existing, and the other part, the longer part that's more of like a trail, going through Patapsco Valley State Park would be about 7.5 miles. Guinness to Southwest Area Park segment would connect to the Elkridge to Guinness segment, continue east along the Patapsco River, and then go up through the neighborhood, Southwest Area Park, and then connect up to the MDOT MTA Patapsco Light Rail Station, as well as the planned bike ped bridge that would go over the tracks over into the city, and then a connection over to Patapsco Avenue for some, where the city is preparing design plans for shared use path in that area. So that's it's one of the longer segments. It's 5.3 miles. So 30% design is nearing completion. We're just incorporating comments from our steering committee currently and kind of finalizing some stormwater elements. It's sponsored by Baltimore County since it's completely within the county. And as I mentioned, it connects Elkridge to Guinness segment all the way through over to Light Rail Station. So it would be a combination of facilities with shared use path, boardwalk, some bridges, rapid flashing beacon crossings to assist with visibility for pedestrian crossing, a side path, and then a bike boulevard. And one of our other projects is the Stony Run Trail. This project would connect with the Elkridge to Guinness segments in historic Elkridge and then travel south all the way to the BWI trail for a 4-mile segment. So 30% design's nearing completion, just kicked off the new comment period. So it'll run from November 20th to December 20th. And then they're also holding an in-person public meeting December 11th at the Severn Park branch of the Anne Arundel County Public Library System. So it's very exciting. It's sponsored by Anne Arundel County. So the preferred alignment is a combination of the stream and utility options. It's a little bit different, a good bit different than the PRG plan. They just found that this other alignment worked better and was preferred by the public. Let's see. And then the newest segment undergoing design is the Cherry Hill segment. So that orange line connects where the MDOT MTA bike ped planned bridge over Patapsco Avenue and the rail line is in the southern end, and then it would travel up through the neighborhood through an abandoned roadway, and then potentially continue up along the roadway Rebird Avenue or travel through the park area, then crossing over Potee and Hanover, connecting along, the Harbor Star Hospital area over to an existing trailhead of the Gwynns Falls Trail, Middle Branch Trail. There's also a number of other projects happening in that area. So it's a pretty exciting little connection that will help community get more access to light rail, access to health services and jobs. The length of that one's estimated to be 1.7 miles and sponsored by Baltimore City. So that one is going to be kicking off really soon, which we're really excited about. Another project that some of you guys were at a kickoff meeting earlier this week is the Patapsco Regional Greenway Operations and Maintenance Guidelines Project. So this project is going to be looking at existing conditions, existing policies for local jurisdictions and for Maryland Park Service, and then doing a data review. So we did that data update on the Patapsco Regional Greenway, but they're going to delve in more and look at who is potentially responsible for maintenance, looking at the existing conditions, what are the user types, different elements like that. We'll also do stakeholder interviews and surveys. So focusing on talking to the people who do maintenance and operations in the local jurisdictions. Taking that information, doing some site visits as well to see what's happening on the ground, and then developing draft operations and maintenance guidelines. So it would be kind of more like a toolkit that local jurisdictions could use to help in Maryland Park Service to help guide their operations and maintenance of the Patapsco Regional Greenway, and potentially to be used, kind of as a best practice or potential lesson for maintenance of other bike facilities in their jurisdiction. So that's a quick overview of the Patapsco Regional Greenway. We've got, I think, the project managers for all the segments here today in the operations and maintenance guideline project. So if you had questions about any of those, we'll be able to answer them, and you can always email me afterwards too.
Thank you, Charlene. That's pretty exciting. Any questions or comments for Charlene? All right. Well, let's continue with Charlene's up for the next presentation, which is on the Bikeable Baltimore Region plan that many of us are involved with.
Great. Yeah, I wanted to give you guys an update while we're all here together. So as you know, we kicked off the phase 2 comment period in early November. So wanted to give you an update on kind of the comments we've received so far, and just updating about general things. So during this comment period, the presenting phase, we're sharing the proposed regional bike network, getting feedback from people to make sure it best serves the region. And the comment period is open till January 10th. We are welcoming comments through a variety of ways, including online with the comment map and then the survey. And we are also holding an in-person public meeting on December 10th at Baltimore Unity Hall, and a virtual meeting December 12th. Let's see. Progress. So far we've gotten 20 survey respondents as of yesterday. The top takeaway so far, it's very initial, but there were some interesting things that came out. But safety and protection for cyclists was one of the top comments, takeaways. Connectivity across communities, complete streets, and multimodal infrastructure were things that people were excited about. And they were excited to have a creative and visionary planning at the regional level to look at making, a connected regional network. Some items that people highlighted that they think could be improved are the existing gaps between bike lanes and paths, wanting more protected bike lanes. And then there was some concern the network is limited by using current plans. With that last comment, we're working, we're identifying gaps in the regional network. So that does cover that part of that comment. The comment map is the other main way to comment online. We've had 72 map comments as of yesterday. However, which is a good amount, but they aren't very well distributed throughout the region. So we want to make sure we're getting people, throughout the region, so we're getting everybody's perspective. So just kind of included some numbers where we've got a fair number of comments in Baltimore City and Baltimore County, which is great to see, but lower numbers in the rest of the jurisdictions. So this is where we are continuing to do community outreach efforts. So we're reaching out to community associations, libraries, asking them to post the flyer. We are working to go do tabling at rec centers around the region to try to catch people there. Of course, we've been sharing information through our newsletters that go out to thousands of people, and then promoting it on our social media as well. But we always appreciate our partners' help in assisting us to reach more people. So I want to thank you for helping spread the word and getting people to come to the website and give us feedback. We just wanted to highlight some additional ways that could you could promote the comment period. So sharing it during announcements at meetings. I know Meg has done that at the State Trails Committee meeting, which I really appreciate. Including it in your all's newsletters, potentially printing the flyer and hanging it around our community. We just sent out an ask to all the BMC staff asking if they could do the same thing and help us get out there and post them around where they live or different locations. I know some people are going to go to coffee shops, but maybe their local library just to check if it's posted there. If they're if they're a member of a community association, trying to see if they might share that information as well. And then another main way is sharing the BMC social media posts and event invites. So we've got some Facebook posts that could be reshared. And then we've got Facebook event invites for the in-person and virtual meeting, which I know can be a little bit easier just to click reshare with those. Some of the Facebook posts incorporate photos and quotes from the 135 handlebar interviews that we conducted around the region. And I'll follow up with an email with all this information and links too. But we've got a folder sent out previously that's got these materials, including the handlebar interview photos and quotes that Miriam put together. So there's a good number for each of the regions. And it's great to see such a diversity of voices, and I think that helps capture people's attention. Let's see. So just kind of wanted to go over the in-person public meeting. The meeting is going to start with a presentation overview on the project, vision and goals, what we've heard from people, and then defining the network, letting people know how that was identified. We would then go into breakout groups, splitting up into smaller groups. People tend to provide comments more when you've got a group of about 10 or fewer. So they would discuss the network at the regional level, talking about, are the connections identified that need to be? Are there additional gaps? Those kinds of elements. They would report back out to the whole group. After that, people would then break out and go around the room to different activity stations, and they could provide additional, more detailed feedback. So these maps would be zoomed in, kind of on like north part of the region, the south part of the region, east, and then west. And then there would also be information on the project next steps. So what we're going to do next, with the implementation plan, prioritization, costing, benefit analysis, and things like that. But we wanted to extend the invitation to you all. If you're able to attend the meeting, we would really think that would be valuable, and we'd really appreciate it. But I'm really excited about that meeting. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. And so another item that we've been talking to you guys about is the meeting in a box. This is kind of the outline of what we've worked out with the consultant so far. And I wanted to bounce that off you guys to see if this is something you feel like you all can use, or if you had any feedback on different approaches that could be made. So the meeting in box would focus on providing information about the project, allowing somebody to host their own outreach, and include materials and sample materials that would allow the person to facilitate that outreach. So there'd be a pamphlet with a brief intro on BBR and why the meeting in box is being developed, how to use this kit, a review of the BBR, so details on to facilitate conversation, so that could be potential questions, focus areas. It would provide different engagement options. So whether that's hosting an in-person or virtual meeting, maybe it's a shorter meeting or a little bit longer meeting. And that would include a presentation, discussing questions, facilitation, and survey questions. And then the other element would include a sample email. So that would be an email that users could take, do minor changes to, and then be able to send it out to the groups that they'd like to hold an outreach meeting to. So we're envisioning this being something that you could use internally if you would like to meet with your colleagues to discuss the regional network, or if you have different groups that you'd like to focus on meeting with individually. But let's see. So that's just a map of the proposed network. I'll hop back. So I guess with all that presenting things, did anybody have any thoughts about the meeting in the box or any of the previous items?
I would say, Charlene, well, first, I'm embarrassed that you've not got any comments from Anne Arundel County, which includes Annapolis. So we clearly need to help with outreach, and we will definitely do that. Will and I will put our heads together, and Tanya, and just get some word out about this. I could definitely see doing the meeting in a box. We have a stakeholder group of folks that we've engaged around our West East Express Trail that are pretty diverse and represent a lot of different neighborhoods and are all kind of avid cyclists. So we could convene them to talk about the plan. But I'm just wondering how, if the comments have to be in by December 10th, I mean, we might be able to do something like the first week of December, but
They don't have to be in actually till January 10th.
oh, okay, sorry.
Yep. Yeah, and if we need a little leeway, we can work with that too, because I understand we're getting into the holiday season and it can be a little bit busy.
Okay.
And just to note, Charlene also has reached out to me. And so just know that I've seen your messages. So I
I
apologize.
appreciate it.
Been a
Now,
little-
we're early in the process, so not having people from everywhere in the region is understandable, but we just wanted to highlight it and, introduce ways that might be easy and useful for you guys to reach out to people. But also let us know if there's materials that you're needing or, meetings you'd like us to attend. I know Miriam and I have been going around and presenting to different committees in the local jurisdictions. But if you have a group you'd like us to present to on the Bikeable Baltimore region, just please reach out because we're happy to do that. We found that presenting to people tends to get a pretty good amount of response rate afterwards, especially for some of those focus stakeholder groups.
Okay, and we definitely has everything Eric said, but we definitely have some people that are interested for sure.
Right.
That we should convene for a presentation. So I can get to work on that and along with Eric.
We appreciate it so much.
Yeah, and we can work together on if that makes the most sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, I don't know how I missed all of this ask on your end for us
You're
to
busy,
do our
yeah.
own meeting. So yeah, we definitely can do something. I have some ideas.
Appreciate it, yeah. And I know Miriam presented to Bike AAA last night at their meeting,
Yep.
so
Mhm.
those numbers will
Okay.
probably change in the next day or so.
Oh,
too.
for sure.
Yeah. And Tanya and I have coordinated to see if I could, for me to present at the Bicycle Advisory Committee meeting in December. So
Mhm.
definitely got some actions happening.
That's awesome that you were at Bike AAA's event. That's great visibility.
Yeah, lots of advocates in the room. I think it's a good opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Definitely appreciate it. Let's see.
Any other comments?
Yeah, anybody have any other thoughts on the meeting in the box or questions about the public meeting or outreach efforts?
All right, well, feel free to reach out to Charlene if you have other questions or comments about the Baltimore, Bikeable Baltimore region plan. This is the point in the meeting where we go do a round table discussion. Essentially, every jurisdiction has an opportunity to share things that are happening in their neck of the region. So we're gonna go around, and I believe we start with City of Annapolis. So I'll say some stuff, and Will, you can follow up anything else. But I guess I'll start by saying just this morning, Will and I were out with a consultant that we've hired to develop trail signage standards for the city that have been long overdue, particularly since we are adding several miles of new trail within the city that'll be breaking ground next year. And it's really exciting to be kind of thinking out how we can get more people on the trails, give them guidance, direct them to key destinations, and kind of give some identity to our trail network, even though it might not be present. The trail network itself is really fragmented today, but I think in the future it's going to be a lot more connected. So that's a big initiative that we're doing. And actually, the same consultant is working on water access signage to a waterfront. And so there's obviously places where the trails will direct people to the waterfront as well. So we wanted those two types of signage to be coordinated. And then, I'm primarily working on a number of our capital trail projects that are aggressively moving forward to try to break ground by next summer. The ones that we've been working on for a while, West East Express and Hilltop Lane Connector primarily. And then we have two that are trying to get into 30% design, the College Creek Connector and the Bay Ridge Avenue Bikeway. But those are the primary things on my mind. Anything else, Will, that you want to add?
No, I mean, you touched on it. It was a pretty awesome site visit because it gave us an opportunity to understand how the networks connect and potential opportunities for including more accessibility, more safety, better sight lines, and it's so beautiful that when you actually physically go there and you are paying attention to all those different dynamics and variables, it heightens just how beautiful the topography is and the actual trail and how much it's needed. And as we were out doing it, what actually also pushed us along was there were people using it. So there were families pushing strollers, there were people going to work, and it was an incredibly diverse group of people who were utilizing those trails. So it's important that we surge forward. So Eric had a brilliant idea, and thank you, Eric, for putting it all together and for including all those different people there because got some great stuff coming.
Yeah, I'm excited. Actually, there was one more thing that came to mind. Our Public Works Director convened a group yesterday that I think was really overdue as well. Traffic safety has obviously become a big concern here, as it is everywhere. Being a small city, we have people working across departments on traffic issues and bike ped mobility issues. So our Public Works Director had gone to Pittsburgh for a conference and kind of saw everything they're doing there. And they have an integrated mobility department there. I think it's called Infrastructure and Mobility. And so he came back and he was kind of inspired to sort of bring together people from different departments to have kind of like a working group. So Will and I were on that. Will is in Department of Transportation. I'm in Planning and Zoning. We had Captain Miguez from our police department, and then my colleague Casey from Ortiz from Planning and Zoning, and Burr is Public Works. And so I think we're going to be meeting quarterly to basically go over key projects that are aimed at traffic safety, primarily for bikes and pedestrians, I think. So yeah, I was pretty psyched to have done that.
Sounds like an SHSP team or something for the city. That's awesome. I love it, Eric.
Give credit to our Public Works Director. So that's it, I guess, for City of Annapolis. Tanya, want to go ahead for Anne Arundel?
Sure. So let's see, where do I begin? Just like project wise, we have a public meeting tomorrow for the Taylor Avenue project. That's still moving along. We had a public meeting yesterday. And by the way, that was funded by the bikeways. That's why I'm kind of focusing on those things that BMC is involved with. And the public meeting yesterday, last night, was at Brooklyn Park, and it's a project funded by the TLC program through BMC to implement one of the priority projects that were recommended out of the Brooklyn Park Mobility Study for some pedestrian connections. The bike safety training is underway, began last month. That was funded originally through Safe Routes to School last year, and we continued it this year with MHSO funding. And so far, so good. So that should wrap up through early spring. And if you're not familiar, it's Pedal Power Kids is going into elementary schools and teaching grades 3 through 5 during their PE courses, some bike safety lessons. We're hoping the WB&A Bridge will open next spring. It was really originally supposed to open this year, but they ran into some safety issues with the railings that were installed. So they had to go back to the drawing board, and they have them on order, but they don't expect they'll be completed and ready to open until spring. We will begin doing another round of Safe Routes to School accessibility studies at 20 more schools. 10 of them are middle and 10 more elementary schools. This will follow in the footsteps of the last studies that we did. And the pre-proposal meeting for that is tomorrow, so that's getting underway. We do have some counters, pedestrian and bicycle counters coming to us soon. We've been working with the Highway Safety Improvement Program Office, to get all of the agreements underway, and I think we finally have finished that. So we'll be ordering those soon. We are also going to be installing vertical delineators, decorative sort of, along Stony Run Road. There's an existing trail there halfway up the road, and then it ends, and so we're going to continue that on up to the intersection. I believe it's Telegraph. And that's pretty much all that I can think of. I mean, Vision Zero is in its implementation stages right now, really, and kind of we're meeting quarterly, and we really are implementing a lot of the recommendations that came out of our plan. So it's moving along nicely.
Thanks, Tanya. And I must say, I should have mentioned with this working group that our public works director created, we showed him the Vision Zero dashboard that Anne Arundel had created, and we showed it to our police representative, and they were all really impressed. I think the GIS manager for the police department is going to be reaching out to you or her counterpart in Anne Arundel GIS to sort of see if we can have something, either basically have something similar for the city that might just kind of reflect what you're doing at the county level for Vision.
Okay.
So,
All right, that was actually spearheaded by Nestor.
Oh, was it? Okay.
So we'll loop him in too. His GIS people
Oh, okay.
did
Got
it.
it. All right. John, say Baltimore.
Yeah, sure. So here at Baltimore City DOT, we have five new project managers. We have a lot of new people who just became on board, on staff. So some of those projects are the Greenway Trails. So we have 3 new segments that are moving forward. 33rd Street, Boston Street, and Norfolk Southern are all moving forward to 30%. And then we have the Washington cycle track, which is also moving forward to 60, excuse me, 60 as well. And then our third project is the Hartford Road Phase 2. Thanks to our partners at HEMDOT. We were awarded some funding for that. which will allow us to turn our flex post into hardscape, some real concrete protection. And yeah, that's about all I have. So thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Baltimore County, is that Jesse?
I believe she may have stepped away from her desk
I'm sorry.
for a moment, but I can provide a update or two. Our Complete Streets feasibility project for Old Court Road is moving forward. We have received our 3 conceptual designs for that, and we are going to be having a public meeting on February 5th from 6 to 7:30 to present that to the public at Northwest Academy. And we have a few other trail projects going forward. We have our West East Trail, which we're going to be having a meeting for soon. As well as 2 segments of our Northeast Trail, continuing design. And that's about all I can think of at the moment. I think Jessie may be back at her desk if she wants to chime in.
All right. Thanks, Mitchell. Jesse, anything else? She may not be that. Well, she can come back if needed. Carroll County, I don't know if we have any, Claire's not here. I don't know is anybody else from Carroll County here?
I'm here. Hi,
Oh, hey,
Eric.
Carly. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You were there.
So I actually don't really have very many updates. I know Claire is the one who has been handling this, and she's on maternity leave. She just left, and I actually didn't really get a chance to talk to her too much about like our future bike planning endeavors before she left. So I'm really not very helpful right now in this meeting. I know that we've really been focusing on our master plan right now. But I can try to get more information about what we're doing bike wise for the next one.
All right. Good enough. Thanks for joining. Good to see you. Let's see. Anyone here from Harford County today? Okay. Howard County's next. Chris?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
So yes, we have set our date for our annual transportation open house. It's going to be January 30th of 2025. It's going to be at the North Laurel Community Center from 4:30 to 7:30. This is our biggest transportation related event of the year, where we really focus on community engagement and providing information on all of our projects and plans, and gathering information, whether it's bike, ped, transit, or other transportation topics. So that's, again, January 30th at the North Laurel Community Center. We also put in an application with MDOT for a bicycle pedestrian priority area designation for the area of Elkridge. So we're waiting to hear back through that program, the BPA program, as some people call it. We are working on, starting to think about a update to our bicycle master plan, our Howard County bicycle master plan, which we call Bike Howard. So we're going to take that on in 2025, just starting to do some preliminary work now to set that up so we can really get that going in 2025 and probably get some consulting support for that. And then a couple of projects we completed since the last BPAG meeting, or BPAG meeting. The bike lanes on Columbia Road are now completed. They're protected bike lanes with flex post and buffer separation. It's about 1.25 miles from Maryland 108 to Maryland 175 on Columbia Road. And we also launched our first bike traffic garden in Howard County. So this was a unused basketball court that was repurposed as a traffic garden for kids to practice bike riding skills. And that's in Huntington Park in the King's Contrivance area of Columbia. So we are planning on doing some more, but that was our first traffic garden. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Queen Anne's County is not here today, so we're going to jump to MDE. Saw somebody from MDE. Julianne.
Can you guys hear me?
No, can't hear you. Still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Faintly.
Okay, I'll try and speak up.
Now we can hear you now.
We don't have any updates, but I'm just standing in for Catherine today.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for being here. MDP, anybody from MDP here?
Hey, yeah, this is Brooks Phelps. We don't have any updates either.
Okay. Let's see. MHSO.
Hi, everybody. Just a few announcements from our office. The first one, as we know, this past Sunday was World Day of Remembrance, and Maryland honors the victims, those who've been lost on our Maryland roads with Maryland Remembers. This event is now going to be taking place on December 16th in Annapolis. I will throw the link to our website. If you are in connection with any family that has lost a loved one and they would like to participate, this information will be useful. And if you have any direct questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Anna Lewandowski from our office. The second kind of big news that's coming up, as you know, with the law that passed, there's going to be a Vision Zero public meeting now. And our first public meeting will be on December 5th from 1 to 3. I'll also include the link to our website so it's easier for everybody to get to. There is an email address that's dedicated for anybody who may have questions that they would like to see addressed, as well as just information for live stream that will be provided closer to the date of the meeting. For those who are already on the pedestrian bike emphasis area team, PBEAT, you have gotten an invitation, but for those who do not get those emails and would like to, our next PBEAT meeting is December 12th. We're going back to hybrid, so we're going to be in person at SHA District 3, but those who can't make the travels down, we have a link that will be available the week of the meeting. And subsequently, I know speed is not quite the same topic of this, but it definitely relates to our pedestrian and vulnerable road users. That meeting is hybrid tomorrow. And if you're interested, I can email that information out to you. The in-person will be at BMC. And the last, like we kind of talked about a little bit when Cindy was discussing Signal Woman, is that our grants application, it's going to come up before we know it. It will be about the second week of January. I think it's January 9th that our system will open. So if you have any thoughts, now is a great time to meet with either myself or Julie from our office to discuss anything, you know, the Signal Woman aspect of the campaign. We also would love to have anybody who wants bike helmets or other safety equipment also. We don't have somebody now statewide who does it. So if your jurisdiction has a need for them, please reach out to me and we can work on some things with helmet distribution and safety education with that. And yep, as soon as I copy the links, I'll throw them in the chat for everybody. Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot, Cynthia. Anybody from, let's see, sorry, MTA?
We do not have an update. Thanks.
Thanks, Brittany. SHA, is that you've, one from SHA. Okay. TSO, believe is our last before BMC, of course. Francine or Meg, maybe?
I'm here. I just wanted to share with you, thank you, that next month we'll have our our pedestrian, excuse me, our pedestrian subcommittee meeting. So if you would like to join us, we would welcome your attendance. And that's I'll be sending out email to invites. So let me know if you don't get one. It'll be in another couple of weeks. The agenda will also be attached. So that's it. Thank you.
You bet. BMC is our last. I think you probably shared everything, Charlene, but anything else?
And now, like I said, we have multiple comment periods. So Bikeable Baltimore Region comment periods runs through January 10th, with the in-person public meeting December 10th and the virtual one December 12th. And then Patapsco Regional Greenway Study Run Trail 30% design has comment period through December 20th, with their in-person public meeting on December 11th. And Anna or Miriam, do you have any updates on your TLC projects?
Hi, this is Anna. None at this time. The consultant is working to develop a feasibility study to cross over Route 50, looking at different options, and also continue the cross-county connector trail.
Great. And that's in Queen Anne's County.
Yes, sorry.
No, no worries.
So, for my TLC project, working with Carroll County on their bicycle pedestrian feasibility study for the sustainable community of Finksburg. There's a public meeting coming up on December 4th. I put a link in the chat to information about that.
Great. Thank you so much. And then the other item, I know we've discussed it a few times before, but having a BPAG Transportation Alternatives Program work group. We wanted to follow up on that. We were looking at some dates in early December to hold a virtual meeting with volunteers from BPAG with the local jurisdictions to meet with BMC staff to just talk about your guys' experiences, questions, ways BMC could be of help based on your experience as recipients of funding, applicants, or potential applicants. So I will be sending follow-up information in an email tomorrow with more information about that.
Thanks, Charlene. We're nearly at the end of our meeting here. We're at other business. Is there any other business that BPAG members would like to share this time? All right, well, hearing none, our next meeting is scheduled for January 15th. Is that still accurate, Charlene?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Great. So you'll be seeing an updated agenda and minutes coming out for that, but wishing everybody good holidays and good to see everybody today. So have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Oops.